Hey everybody, it's Wednesday again. So here we go, all together now. What the WTF Wednesday, if you know, you know. We do this every Wednesday. It's called WTF Wednesday, and it's great. It's cathartic. It's therapeutic. It helps us get through the week by having a sort of license to rant on a Wednesday. And we rant about something that in the world of health and nutrition and wellness, I hate that word, that doesn't make any sense, or at best and at worst is downright misleading and dangerous. And in honor of our topic today, which is blood tests, I'm wearing my bright red shirt. And this came to me because I was looking at the blood tests of one of my clients, because that's something I do. So, you know, if you want to book an appointment, go ahead, book a call with me on my website, SHAPEFIXER.com. And I'll look at your blood tests amongst a whole lot of other things, and we'll talk about your health and see if there's anything we can come up with that'll help you feel a lot better. But I digress. What is my issue with blood tests? Very often, the standard blood tests can be quite misleading. Now, don't be confused. That is not that the methods of measuring the different parameters in your blood are inaccurate. They're actually really good, and your blood test will tell you absolutely what your ferritin level is, what your leukocyte count is. It will tell you how much calcium is in your blood, how much potassium is in your blood. It will tell you about your various cholesterol numbers and your triglycerides. What can be very misleading are the reference ranges. Now, if you go for a blood test at one doctor and you go for the same blood tests at another doctor, say in another town, you might get a quite different report back. Now, the numbers will be the same, but the reference ranges will be different. So in this test, you are within the reference range, and so there's nothing to see here. And then the other one, you'll be below or above, and your doctor will highlight that and tell you you've got a problem. So what's that all about? The problem is the labs that do the tests. Okay, now they're all very good at doing the tests and analyzing your blood and getting your numbers. But the reference ranges that they use, where they say, well, anything between 20 and 80 is normal. If it's above 80, it's abnormal and you've got some kind of problem. Or if it's below 20, you've got another problem. Those reference ranges, those are not ideal, healthy ranges. Those are the averages of all the people that have had their blood tested in that laboratory. So hang on a minute. You're telling me that everyone goes to the doctor to have a blood test. All those results are put into a computer. The computer comes out with an average and says, well, anywhere between here and here is okay because you're kind of the same as everyone else. And the only problem is if you're a bit lower than that or a bit higher than that. Who are these people that are having their blood tested? Mostly they're sick. That's why they went to the doctor in the first place. So you're not getting an average across the entire population or a healthy population. You're getting an average of people who have some other problem, which is why most of the time they're at the doctor anyway. Now, some people go for blood tests and they're fine. They do it, I don't know, for insurance purposes or something. But generally speaking, the averages are not very good. Even if you were somehow to get an average across the entire population, that still doesn't mean it's optimal, because we are not a very healthy population. You just have to walk down the road and look around you and see how many people are obese and have various issues associated with obesity, like heart disease and diabetes and all these other horrible things that are going on, massive amounts of inflammation. So even an average of the entire population is not necessarily healthy. Otherwise, you'd be saying, well, your ideal weight would be exactly the middle in between the heaviest person and the thinnest person. Well, no, because then you'd be pretty seriously overweight if you were average. So these blood reference numbers very often mean nothing. Sometimes they could mean something else. And this happens, for example, with cholesterol numbers, where it is the pharmaceutical companies who dictate what the numbers should be, above which you need to worry or below which you need to worry, so that the doctors will prescribe their drugs and their medications. And you can look at the history of cholesterol and cholesterol treatments, so statins and related drugs, and the levels that the pharmaceutical companies tell the labs and tell the doctors to watch, and if it goes above this, you must prescribe the medication, and how over the years those numbers have been gradually reduced by the pharmaceutical companies. And you can only think that that's got to be because every 5 years or so, they know that if they revise it down a little bit, they'll catch some more people in the net, and more and more and more people are going on these drugs. So there's that, which you don't know about. Then there are some particularly egregious, idiotic things like potassium or magnesium in your blood, where you will have a potassium reading and it will always be in the normal range. So it'll be like 4.5 or it depends, I guess, on the units in the country that you're in, because they measure them with different units, but it's always fine. Most people are deficient in potassium. Even more people are deficient in magnesium, but not in the blood. A potassium blood test doesn't tell you very much at all. If your blood potassium is out, you are already in intensive care. You are in big trouble. What your body does to ensure that your blood potassium stays level is it pulls potassium out of your cells, does the same with magnesium, pulls it out of your tissues, holds it in the blood so that the level is correct, because it's critical in the blood that it must stay correct. Then you measure the blood and you go, oh, look, this is fine. But you're deficient because you don't have enough in your cells. Now you have cramping in the night, you have heart arrhythmias, you have all sorts of other nonsense going on because the potassium or the magnesium is deficient in your cell liquid, but you're just measuring the blood. So of course, on a blood test, your potassium is fine. So that can be quite misleading as well. So my WTF moment for this week is be very careful, or at least be very aware that blood tests do not tell you everything. And no single number on its own is going to tell you much anyway. Very often, if there really is something wrong, it will highlight in a number of different parameters, different data points in the blood, and you can relate them back to each other. Like if your cholesterol is high, but you are very fit and you're very healthy and you're not eating sugar and your triglycerides are low and you're eating a lot of fat and you're a fat burner, then your cholesterol and your LDL might be elevated because it's being used to carry the fatty acids around for your energy metabolism, and it's perfectly normal and perfectly healthy and absolutely fine. So high LDL doesn't necessarily mean anything by itself. You need to look at all the other numbers. If your triglycerides are high and your HDL is low and you're anemic and your energy is bad and you've got all sorts of other problems, yes, okay. Look at your body weight, look at your habits. Of course, blood tests are very important for a lot of things. You can find a lot in a blood test, but it doesn't always tell you everything. And the reference ranges are averages, and they vary from one lab to the other, because it's literally the average of all the blood tests that have been carried out in that lab. You can have 2 labs in the same town, and they will give you different reference ranges. And then you panic because you're a bit higher on one of them. I mean, so what? So that's my moment. When you feel there's something wrong with you and you're not feeling well and you have low energy, or you're very anxious, or your heart rate's too high, or you've got pain and aches in your muscles and your bone and your joints, and you're going to the doctor with issues and they do blood tests and they tell you there's nothing wrong with you, that's nonsense. You know when there's something wrong. You need to push back, because your symptoms and how you're feeling tell you a lot, and very often more than the blood test will tell you. That's my moment. That's Wednesday. WTF. Please subscribe to our channel if you want to have something to complain about every Wednesday. Don't worry, the rest of my videos are not like this. My videos generally are educational, and we talk about issues and how to address them and options for diet and lifestyle and to try and stay as healthy as we can for as long as we can and as young as we can. Okay, have a lovely rest of the week. I'm doing a live stream on Wednesday. That would be June the 5th. Just have a look at the channel and join us for the live stream. We're talking about fatigue on Friday. It's going to be really, really interesting. There are so many different reasons why you can have chronic fatigue, and we're going to go through all of them so that you can narrow it down and find out what it is in your particular case that is making you feel tired and exhausted all the time. I'd love to have you join us. We'll see you on Friday.